Chapter 3. The Vows. Gasping for air. He couldn't breathe. Mario stood within the kids' room, still reflecting upon the warmth of Tanya's lips against his cheek. He touched his cheek with his hand. The memory sent a ripple through Mario's chest, stealing the breath from his lungs. Mario stepped out of the kids' room and looked towards the master bedroom. He saw Tanya slowly walking into the master bedroom, as if time had folded in on itself. When Tanya finally made it into the room and looked back to Mario, the world around him snapped back into focus. Mario blinked as he met Tanya's gaze. Her deep brown eyes, soft with emotion, held his own, and a small smile curved her lips. A familiar heat warmed Mario's chest, a sensation as old as their love itself. He softened his expression in return, basking in the quiet moment they shared, as if the air between them still carried the ghost of that embrace. "All right, Mr. Googly Eyes, snap out of it. I need you to bring out the gifts," Tanya giggled, her voice light and teasing. The sudden lightness in her tone was a stark contrast to the tension that had filled their bedroom just moments ago. It was as if the children's presence had shifted something between them, allowing them to slip into the familiar comfort of their roles as parents. With the softness of her lips lingering in his thoughts, Mario moved into the task with a renewed sense of purpose. He strode toward the master bedroom, his feet moving with quick efficiency. He sat his youngest down on the floor, then swung open the closet doors, reaching for the carefully arranged bags filled with brightly wrapped presents. The rustling of tissue paper filled the air as he sorted through them, each one a small symbol of love, thoughtfulness, and the joy of giving. As he gathered the gifts, Mario caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror mounted on the inside of the closet door. His eyes were still slightly red from his earlier tears, but there was something different in his expression now, a glimmer of hope, perhaps. He took a deep breath, centering himself before returning to the family. The living room was alive with anticipation. The morning light now streamed fully through the windows, catching dust motes that danced in the air. The mountain view beyond the glass was spectacular, snow-covered peaks against a clear blue sky, nature's own Christmas gift to them. The children exchanged excited glances, their faces alight with anticipation, their bodies practically vibrating with uncontainable energy. Mario, his arms now burdened with gifts, turned back toward them and placed them all in the center of their master bedroom floor. "All right, kiddos, come grab your gifts," he called out. Like a tidal wave, the kids surged forward, their laughter echoing off the walls. Tanya followed, her movements graceful and unhurried, the epitome of calm amid their chaos. Mario watched her for a moment, the way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the gentle sway of her hips as she walked, the care with which she guided their youngest child. Despite everything, she was still the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. One by one, Mario and Tanya handed out the gifts, placing each bag carefully in front of the rightful owner. Tanya settled into the brown chair with the green cushion, the same one Mario had been sitting in earlier, while Mario pulled out his phone, switching on the video camera to capture the moment. "Ready when you are," he announced, his voice warm with parental pride. The first tier of wrapping paper broke the silence, and then, all at once, the room exploded into an orchestra of joy. Cheers, giggles, and delighted gasps filled the air, mixing with the soft rustle of crinkling paper and the crisp snap of ribbons being undone. "From Mommy and Daddy," Tanya announced, her voice carrying over the excited squeals. "This one's from Grandma and Grandpa," Mario added, handing a large, meticulously wrapped box to their 8-year-old. More names followed, the gifts a collection of thoughtful gestures from family near and far. Then, a name that wasn't expected. "Tony," Tanya said casually, holding up a particularly sought-after gift, a limited edition doll that their youngest had been talking about for months. The name tugged at something unsettling within Mario, his brow furrowed slightly, his eyes narrowing with curiosity. Tony was Tanya's co-worker, a man Mario had met only once at a company function, tall and confident, with an easy smile that had lingered a bit too long when he'd looked at Tanya. "Your co-worker got that?" he asked, his tone neutral but probing. He lowered the phone slightly, no longer focusing on recording. Tanya, unfazed by his reaction, turned toward him with a matter-of-fact look. "Yes," she said simply. "That gift was sold out everywhere I looked." She shifted slightly in her chair, glancing back toward the kids as they continued unwrapping their gifts. I mentioned it at work, and Tony overheard me. He told me he saw it online. I told him who it was for, and he said he could get it for her. And he did. Mario absorbed her words, watching her face for any sign of something more. But there was nothing, just the straightforward explanation of a colleague's kindness. As her explanation unraveled, that unease softened, replaced by gratitude for the thoughtful gesture. "Oh, okay, that was nice of him," he said, nodding. Then he turned toward their daughter, the brightness in his eyes returning. "Tell Tony thank you." "Thank you, Tony." Their baby girl beamed, her voice full of glee as she hugged the doll to her chest. Mario raised the phone again, capturing the pure joy on his daughter's face. Don't let jealousy ruin this. This day wasn't about his insecurities. It was about their family, about creating memories that would sustain them through whatever storms lay ahead. The twins were comparing their gifts, arguing good-naturedly about whose was better. The middle children were already testing out their new toys, filling the room with electronic beeps and whirs. Their youngest was still clutching the doll, examining every detail with wonder in her eyes. As the last of the gifts were opened and the floor was littered with wrapping paper remnants, Mario lowered his phone, satisfied that he had captured every moment. With a quick motion, he sent the video to Tanya, along with a simple message. "Merry Christmas, babe." A moment later, his phone chimed with her response. "Merry Christmas to you too, Mario." A small smile tugged at Mario's lips. Just minutes ago, she had been fussing at him, but now there was warmth between them again. The ebb and flow of marriage. 13 years had taught him that much at least. No storm lasted forever, no matter how fierce it seemed in the moment. Her smile lingered in his mind, a quiet echo of the promises they once made. And then, like the faint scent of roses drifting through time, their vows unfolded before him once again. The church bathed in a golden glow. The pastor stood between them, his voice steady and strong. Tanya and Mario, turn and face each other. Mario's heart pounded as he reached for Tanya's hands. They were warm, steady, and as he looked into her eyes, he saw everything. Their past, their present, their future. "Tanya, I will start with you first," the pastor said. "Listen and repeat after me." Tanya gave a small nod, her voice steady as she followed his lead. "I, Tanya," she began, "take you, Mario, to be my lawfully wedded husband." Each line was spoken with certainty, woven together like a promise written in stone. To have and to hold, from this day forward, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish until death do us part. A deep breath. "I do." Mario felt a lump in his throat as he spoke the same vows in return, the weight of them settling into his bones. "Until death do us part," he finished. And then, with unwavering conviction, "I do." The memory of their hands tightly clasped as gold bands were slipped onto their fingers. The way the sunlight had filtered through the pristine glass windows, painting them like beautiful crystals. The soft murmur of approval from their gathered loved ones. The tears that had glistened in his mother's eyes. The proud smile on Tanya's father's face. It had been perfect, a moment frozen in time, preserved like an insect in amber, unchanging despite the years that followed. Mario blinked, his mind snapping back to the present. He glanced around the room, at the children laughing, at the remnants of torn wrapping paper scattered like confetti, at Tanya still seated in that chair, her face illuminated by the glow of her phone screen. Marriage isn't easy. It never has been, but nothing worth having ever was. Their vows weren't just words spoken in a church years ago. They were a living, breathing testament to their journey. Through every argument, every moment of doubt, every quiet reconciliation, they continued to honor their vows. A small smile crept onto his face as he watched the kids play. The oldest was showing the youngest how to operate her new toy. His patience with his little sister, a reflection of the kindness Mario had always tried to instill in them. The middle children were building something together, disagreeing on the design but working through their differences with minimal drama. They were good kids, testament to something he and Tanya must be doing right, despite their struggles. "All right, kiddos, let's start cleaning up," Tanya called, lifting her gaze from her phone. Remember, we're going to your cousin's unit to spend Christmas with them." The children groaned playfully but obeyed, gathering wrapping paper and discarded ribbons. Mario watched as they worked together, each taking responsibility for their own mess. Pride swelled in his chest, not just for them, but for what he and Tanya had created together. Tanya rose from the chair, stretching slightly before turning to Mario. He caught her eye, and for a moment, they simply looked at each other. In that look was 13 years of history, the good, the bad, the breathtaking, the heartbreaking. All of it had led them here, to this moment, standing in a vacation rental surrounded by the family they had built. "Mario, do you mind straightening up the room and getting the kids ready while I work on the dish we're bringing?" she asked, her voice softer than it had been earlier that morning. Mario met her eyes, nodding without hesitation. "Will do." She smiled, just a small one, but it was enough. "Thank you." And with that, she turned and walked out of the room, leaving Mario standing in the midst of their joyful chaos. As he bent down to gather the stray scraps of Christmas morning, a single thought lingered in his mind. These vows weren't just a promise, they were a foundation. And today, piece by piece, he'd build upon that foundation again. "Dad, where should I put this?" his 6-year-old asked, holding up a tangle of ribbons. Mario reached out, taking the colorful mess from his son's hands. "I'll take care of it, buddy. You go get dressed for visiting your cousins." The boy nodded and dashed off, leaving Mario alone with his thoughts once more, for better or worse. Those words echoed in his mind as he continued cleaning. They were in the worst right now. He couldn't deny that. But the better was still there, hidden beneath the surface like glowing embers waiting to be fanned back into flame. From the kitchen, he could hear Tanya humming softly as she prepared their contribution to the family meal. It was 1,000 years, the same song that had played as they lit candles together at their wedding. Mario paused, letting the familiar melody wash over him. Maybe that's a sign, a small reminder that even in their darkest moments, light always found a way to shine through. With renewed determination, he continued his task, one step at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time. After all, that's what marriage was. Not a single vow spoken once, but a promise renewed with every sunrise, every shared smile, every overcome obstacle. And as the morning light filled the room, Mario felt, for the first time in a long while, that they might just make it after all.